Poker Genius with Dr. Stephen Simpson.
Hi, my name's Steve Simpson and welcome to the Poker Genius podcast channel. And I'm going to be taking extracts from my book of the same name and presenting them to you in short little clips. Each episode will be about 10 minutes long. And as the series develops and as we get feedback from people just like you, I will be going off script and dealing with the stuff that surfaces. So here we are into the introduction of the book. Let's get started. This book is a system of 7 secrets based upon sound, scientific, psychological and philosophical principles that will help you to become a poker genius. It's a book about luck, winning and gaining the edge. I am convinced that luck is not random. And just in case you think this is too good to be true, be assured that I'm not alone in this belief. Professor Richard Wiseman, in his provocative book called The Luck Factor, proved that success is not an accident, and there are some very logical reasons that explain why this is so. Some of my principles are logical, and some less so, but they've all worked for my clients. So how exactly will my system help you to attract more luck into your life and become a better poker player? Because the exercises are simple. Because you'll be learning the secrets of the best and from the best. And because I'll be with you every step of the way. Because you'll not proceed to the next chapter or the next episode until you're satisfied that you have identified what will work for you at each step. Moreover, at the end of every chapter, you'll choose the 3 elements from that particular chapter that most strongly resonate with you and write them down. When you keep things simple, you'll spot more opportunities and make cleaner decisions. When you ask people, and particularly if they're poker players, what one quality they most desire, very often their answer is more luck. Napoleon Bonaparte probably would have agreed with them. When asked what was the most important quality that he looked for in his generals, he replied simply that he only wanted lucky ones. I don't financially back poker players, but if I did, I would definitely look for lucky players. I do, however, coach poker players, and we spend a considerable amount of time talking about luck and how we can attract more of it into our lives. I also explained the system of 7 secrets to them, as I will with you. I didn't invent these secrets. Most of them have been around for centuries. My mission has been to adapt them for my clients and myself and then use them to our benefit. Poker legend Chris Moorman is one of my clients, and this is how our journey started together. March the 1st was an important date in ancient Rome. It was the start of the new year and dedicated to Mars, the god of war. On this date in 2014, Chris Moorman was fighting his own war and it wasn't going well. In fact, he was facing near certain defeat. By day 5 of the World Poker Tour LA Poker Classic, Moorman had been slowly but surely grinding his path to the final table. It could have ended much earlier when late on one day he'd gone all in on a weak hand. Luckily for him, his opponent folded and Chris won another huge pot and with his very next hand to climb into the top 10. We'll talk more about luck throughout this book, and that certainly is an example of good luck for Chris there. On day 5, Chris was thinking he had a good hand with a jack and a 3, as his whole cards, a flop of community cards shared by the players that were Queen, 7 and 5, a turn community card of 4, and then finally a river 5th community card of 6. That meant a straight 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a strong hand, and he bet on it heavily. He felt good, but then disaster struck. To his horror, at the showdown, Chris saw that his whole cards were not jack and 3, but jack and 2, not a winning hand and a huge hit. Making such a fundamental error devastated Chris, and at that point he was staring defeat in the face. The only good news was that the break was coming soon, and it would be an opportunity to regroup, talk to his partner Kate, and remind himself of the techniques we had worked on only days before. So what techniques did he draw upon in his hour of need? As you read this book, or as I relate this book to you, you'll discover many of them. How will you use them is a different question with a different answer. They'll include techniques you've probably never dreamed about, techniques that might make your friends laugh. However, please keep in mind that he or she who laughs last, laughs loudest. So who am I and what do I do? I'm Stephen Simpson, a medical doctor and a fellow of the Royal Society of Medicine. I have worked exclusively as a mind coach for the last 8 years. Well, of course, there's a few more now since this book was published. In a nutshell, my role as a mind coach is to help my clients become winners. I show them how to operate at their peak performance level, which is usually much higher than they imagine possible. We achieve this together by using my system of psychological and other techniques that can ignite the massive latent power of their unconscious mind. Everything I talk about is all about the power of the unconscious mind. I've planted a seed for you. I enjoy talking to poker players whenever I can, and the same issues surface time and time again. These issues include dealing with losing runs, maintaining concentration, staying confident when on tilt. This is a temporary state of confusion or frustration and is a serious barrier to avoiding attention leaks, controlling emotions, and learning how to trust your intuition. I'll show you how to find solutions for all of these issues and many others too. By the time you finish listening to this podcast series, you will have many new ideas to ignite your skills. Even in the unlikely event that you only have a few new ideas, don't worry. A little goes a long way in poker, where a wafer-thin advantage can translate into a lot of money. Until I started working with top players, my knowledge of poker was extremely limited. In my early career, I worked as a doctor in the oil fields of Africa and spent many happy hours playing poker with my friends. I always felt very welcome at the table, and it was only recently that I discovered the main reason why. It was because I left most of my money with the other players. So my poker playing didn't last very long, but little did I know that many years later it would become a very important part of my life. In 2012, while in Portugal, I met an Irish student named Rory Brown. We shared several things in common. He was interested in psychology, for instance, and was studying in Dublin for a master's degree in psychotherapy. Rory was also a talented golfer, and we enjoyed playing together several times. Once while we were chatting at the bar, he mentioned he was a semi-professional poker player and was able to successfully fund his studies with his winnings. As a mind coach, I was fascinated and I wanted to know more about the skills that poker requires. At that time, most of my work involved helping tour golfers improve their game by working on their mind skills. It didn't take me long to realize that the skills required in golf are very similar to the ones that Rory described for poker. We spent many more hours exchanging ideas and experimenting with different techniques. In March 2013, we began to work together in a more organized way. I'm pleased to say Rory really progressed and has since been posting some great results. He works incredibly hard, never stops thinking about the game, and thoroughly deserves his successes. These include winning over $1 million and making multiple high-profile tables. Despite his rise to poker stardom, Rory remains humble and grounded, and is one of the most genuine people one could hope to meet. He found inspiration from working together, definitely, but I'm always mindful that it's Rory who played his cards, not I. However, it's certainly true that this book and this podcast series can impact your life in a positive way too, as long as you persist resolutely to the end, of course. Later in 2013, Rory was playing in Amsterdam when one evening he talked to a very talented female player named Liv Bory. Liv was considering consulting with a mind coach in the United States, and so Rory suggested she might want to contact me. He gave her my card, which she kept for several months. In December 2013, Liv called me and asked if we could meet. To make a long story short, we met several times over the following weeks. During this time, I travelled with her to tournaments in Edinburgh and Dublin and learned a lot more about the exciting world of poker. Liv had contacted me because, by her exceptional standards, 2013 had been a lean year with live event earnings of only $51,000. Pleased to say that her form returned immediately when we started working together. She won $129,000 in January 2014 alone, and also placed second in a major event in Edinburgh. In actual fact, she was really unlucky. I know I shouldn't say that, but she could easily have won. Anyway, Liv found our work together revolutionary for her game, and her fine form continues to date, the highlight being her superb performance in Barcelona in August 2015, when her third place finish earned her $449,000. Well, of course, that was the time of writing the book, and Liv has gone on ever since then and collected at least 2 bracelets at the World Series. And oddly enough, I exchanged emails with her a few weeks ago, and she's actually semi-retired from the world of poker and devoting her life to philosophy and various other projects. Back to the story. After her Edinburgh success, Liv talked to a friend of the legendary poker player Chris Moorman. Chris's results were not going his way either, and after he'd received my contact details, we'd exchanged a few calls, as I think Chris in the introduction mentioned. Chris and I agreed to work together, and we still do, and we never stop learning even more about this beautiful but so often frustrating game. The immediate results of our work together, that's Chris and I, were spectacular, as fellow poker player and journalist Lee Davey recounted in his Poker Update article. And I'm going to leave this episode there. That's to look forward to, hopefully, in the next one, where we'll see exactly what Lee Davey had to say. And he comes to some of his own conclusions, which are, to put it mildly, interesting. In the meantime, just reflect. We don't live in a random universe. Luck's not random. And there are many, many things that we can do to turn on our luck magnet. We'll continue to plant a few seeds. And always remember that poker is supposed to be fun. Poker players who are having fun usually play pretty well. So, goodbye for now.
Like, follow, subscribe. It's free. Leave a rating on Spotify or a review on Apple Podcasts. For more, go to Dr. with a Dr. Stephen with a PH Simpson.com. drstephensimpson.com.